The room was buzzing with excitement. Elon Musk, the billionaire tech mogul, stood at the front of the stage, his sharp eyes scanning the crowd. He was used to being the center of attention, commanding rooms with his presence. But today felt different. There was a strange energy in the air, something electric, something unexpected. The annual Global Innovators Conference in Silicon Valley was in full swing, and Elon was there to deliver his keynote speech on the future of space exploration, Tesla's advancements in AI, and his latest passion project, Neuralink. But as he wrapped up his talk and made his way backstage, something unusual was about to happen. His assistant, Jennifer, approached him with a curious look on her face. "Elon, there's someone here who insists on meeting you," she said, hesitating slightly. She's 10 years old." Elon raised an eyebrow, his face betraying no emotion. 10? You're telling me there's a 10-year-old who wants to meet me? Jennifer nodded, looking just as confused as he was. "Yes, sir. She's claiming to be some sort of genius. I don't know how else to explain it." Elon chuckled softly, intrigued but skeptical. He'd met countless self-proclaimed geniuses over the years, many with grand ideas that ultimately led nowhere. But something about this request felt different. "All right," he said, leaning back in his chair. "Bring her in." Moments later, a young girl walked into the room. She was small for her age, with long brown hair and large glasses perched on her nose. But what struck Elon immediately was her demeanor, calm, composed, and almost unnervingly mature for someone so young. "Mr. Musk," she began, her voice steady and confident. "My name is Lily, and I think I have something that could change the world." Elon's eyes narrowed as he studied her. There was no trace of nervousness or hesitation in her expression, just an unshakable confidence that most adults would envy. He leaned forward, intrigued. "All right, Lily," he said, his tone a mix of curiosity and caution. "What exactly do you have that could change the world?" Without missing a beat, Lily pulled out a small tablet from her backpack. Her fingers moved swiftly as she swiped through screens, pulling up a series of complex diagrams and lines of code. Elon's eyes widened as he examined the screen. "This is a system I've developed," Lily explained matter-of-factly, "that could revolutionize the way we store and transfer energy. It's a new type of battery that uses quantum entanglement to maximize energy efficiency. If I'm right, it could make renewable energy sources like solar and wind 100% reliable, even in places where they're not currently viable." Elon's mind raced. Quantum entanglement? In energy storage? It was a concept he hadn't considered before. He had always been focused on making electric cars better, getting to Mars, and developing cutting-edge AI. But energy storage? That was a game changer. This is impressive," he admitted, his voice more serious now. "But you realize that what you're talking about is no small feat, right? Quantum entanglement in energy storage would require a massive breakthrough in physics, something that hasn't been done before." Lily didn't flinch. "I know it's ambitious," she said, her tone unwavering. "But I've already run a small-scale experiment in my lab. It's not perfect yet, but I'm confident it can be replicated on a larger scale. I just need someone who knows how to take it from concept to reality." Elon's eyes remained fixed on her, intrigued but cautious. It wasn't often that someone, let alone a 10-year-old, came to him with a bold idea and the conviction to back it up. "And what makes you think that someone like me is the right person to help you bring this idea to life?" he asked, crossing his arms over his chest. Lily paused for a moment, her gaze unwavering. "Because you're the person who changed the world before," she said simply. "You're the person who didn't let the impossible stop you. And I think you'll see the value in this, even if no one else does. Elon felt a strange sense of respect for this little girl. It wasn't often that people impressed him, but Lily's confidence and clarity of thought were remarkable for someone her age. "Well, Lily," he said, leaning forward, "you've got my attention, but you're going to have to prove to me that this idea is more than just a spark of genius. You're going to have to show me that it's feasible." Lily nodded, her face lighting up with a smile that almost made her look like a young version of Elon himself. "I can do that," she said confidently. "I'll prove it to you." Elon couldn't help but admire her determination. He had always respected people who believed in their ideas with such conviction. And while he wasn't sure if she truly had something groundbreaking on her hands, he was curious enough to find out. "You've got a deal then," he said, extending his hand to her. Lily shook his hand firmly, sealing the pact. As she left the room, Elon stood still for a moment, deep in thought. He had no idea where this would lead, but one thing was clear. This wasn't going to be a typical encounter. A 10-year-old girl had just challenged him in a way no adult ever had, and he was eager to see how this would play out. Little did he know, his world was about to change in ways he hadn't anticipated. The following day, Elon found himself in a private meeting room at Tesla's headquarters. The large screen in front of him displayed the diagrams Lily had shared the day before. He had asked his team of engineers and physicists to review her work, and their feedback was mixed. Dr. Gerald, a senior physicist on the team, stood at the front of the room, shaking his head as he reviewed the data on the tablet. "Elon," he began, adjusting his glasses, "this idea is extraordinary, but it's also fundamentally flawed. Quantum entanglement for energy storage hasn't been proven on this scale. The calculations are incomplete, and even if the theory were correct, the energy loss during entanglement could be catastrophic. It's a theoretical stretch, at best." Elon frowned, his mind racing. He wasn't sure whether to be discouraged or to press forward. Lily had struck a chord with him, but he wasn't about to put his reputation and resources on the line without more than just an idea and some diagrams. He stood up and paced slowly in front of the screen, his mind processing the possibilities. The last thing he wanted was to dismiss the potential of something that could fundamentally change the future of energy. But he also didn't want to throw everything into something that seemed impossible. "All right," Elon said, turning to face Dr. Gerald and the other engineers. "Let's not throw this out just yet. I want us to meet with Lily. If she can explain her theory further and show us her findings in a way that holds up, we move forward with this. If not, then we let it go. But let's be open-minded." Dr. Gerald looked skeptical. "Elon, this kind of thing can't just be figured out in a meeting. It's pure science fiction." Elon nodded, his voice tinged with something more than doubt, something closer to excitement. "I know," he replied, "but I've learned one thing in this business. The world's most extraordinary breakthroughs start as things that sound like science fiction. Let's meet Lily again and give her a chance to show us that her idea isn't just fantasy." That afternoon, Elon and his team gathered in the same conference room where he'd met Lily the day before. The young girl arrived promptly, her eyes sparkling with the same quiet determination he'd seen earlier. She didn't look intimidated by the group of experts sitting across from her, and she certainly didn't seem nervous to be presenting her theory again. Instead, she took a deep breath, sat down confidently at the table, and began. "I know this seems impossible," Lily started, her tone calm and unwavering, "but I've been working on this concept for a long time. It's not just about quantum entanglement, it's about how we apply it to real-world energy systems. Right now, we store energy by converting it into a different form. But what if we could capture the energy without losing any in the conversion process?" She pulled up a new diagram on her tablet. one that explained the principles of quantum energy transfer in a more accessible way. The engineers in the room leaned in, intrigued. Elon watched closely, his mind processing the intricate details of her proposal. "This is a new type of energy network," Lily continued. "It wouldn't just store energy. It would also allow energy to be transferred instantly, without the losses we see in current systems. Imagine a world where solar panels or wind turbines never have to store energy. They just use it as soon as it's generated, no matter the time of day or the location. It's all based on entanglement and how quantum states can be manipulated to create a virtually unlimited, instantaneous energy flow." Elon raised an eyebrow, impressed by how she managed to explain it all so clearly, even with concepts that were far beyond most adults. But there was one crucial question he needed answered. "You're proposing a system where energy is transferred instantly, without loss, and on a scale that could power entire cities," Elon said. "That's a huge leap, even for something that sounds like it could work. What's the catch?" Lily's eyes lit up, and for a brief moment, she looked like a seasoned scientist rather than a 10-year-old girl. "The catch," she said, "is that the system relies on quantum coherence. It's delicate. One disturbance in the quantum state, and the system fails. But if we can perfect the coherence long enough for energy transfer to occur without any loss, the impact could be revolutionary." Elon nodded slowly, processing the details. Her theory wasn't just about creating a better battery. It was about transforming the entire energy ecosystem. It was audacious, bold, and for some reason, he couldn't shake the feeling that she might be onto something. Still, there was one thing he had to do before taking the next step. "I want to see this in action," Elon said, his voice firm. "You've convinced me that this idea has potential, but I need to see a working prototype before we go any further." Lily smiled, her face lighting up with a mixture of excitement and pride. "I knew you'd say that," she replied, her voice filled with confidence. "I've already built a small prototype. It's not perfect yet, but I can show you the results. I just need a place to set it up." Elon looked around at his team. "Let's give her the resources she needs. This is a project that deserves our full attention." Within hours, they had set up a small laboratory space at Tesla's facility, complete with a team of engineers to help Lily with the technical aspects of her prototype. Elon watched closely as she got to work, her hands moving swiftly as she connected wires, adjusted dials, and programmed the necessary algorithms. There was no hesitation in her movements, only the quiet, focused energy of someone who knew exactly what they were doing. By the time evening came, Lily was ready to demonstrate the first test of her quantum energy transfer system. The team gathered around, Elon included, as she powered up the machine. The room grew quiet with anticipation. The first attempt failed. There was a brief flash of light, a faint hum, and then everything powered down. Lily didn't flinch. She simply turned to Elon and said, "I told you it wouldn't be perfect yet, but it will be. I just need more time." Elon felt a spark of admiration for her persistence. Most people would have panicked or given up, but Lily stood there with quiet assurance, ready to try again. "We're going to make this work," Elon said, his voice filled with a new sense of conviction. "Keep going, Lily. You've got the right idea." As he watched her work, Elon realized that this wasn't just about proving her theory. It was about something much bigger. This could be the key to transforming how humanity harnesses energy forever. And whether or not it succeeded, this journey was one he was more than willing to take. Days passed, and Tesla's lab buzzed with activity as Lily continued to refine her quantum energy transfer system. Elon Musk was becoming more and more invested in the project. He knew that breakthroughs like this didn't happen every day. And the more he watched Lily work, the more he realized that she wasn't just another prodigy. She was someone who might be on the verge of changing the world. Elon found himself visiting the lab multiple times each day, watching the young girl tinker with wires, adjust formulas, and test theories. The rest of the team was equally captivated by her presence. Even Dr. Gerald, the physicist who had initially dismissed Lily's idea, began to soften his stance. "She's onto something," Dr. Gerald admitted to Elon one morning as they watched Lily set up another test. "There's a level of precision in her calculations that even I didn't expect. It's almost as if she's figured out something that no one else has, and she's not even fully aware of it yet." Elon nodded thoughtfully, his gaze fixed on Lily as she worked. It was hard not to be impressed. Her determination and intelligence were beyond her years, and her ability to understand complex scientific principles seemed almost innate. But what truly set her apart was her unwavering belief in her own ideas. Lily had been testing various prototypes for over a week now, and each attempt resulted in failure. But with each failure, she became more determined. Elon could see it in her eyes, the refusal to give up, no matter how many setbacks she faced. Then, one afternoon, something changed. Lily was standing in front of the machine again, her hands steady as she made a few final adjustments. The entire room held its breath, watching her every move. The machine hummed to life, but this time it didn't power down. Instead, a soft blue glow surrounded the core of the system, and a small but steady stream of energy began to flow through the connected wires. Lily's face lit up with a look of sheer triumph. "It's working," she whispered to herself, her voice filled with the kind of disbelief that only comes when something truly impossible becomes a reality. Elon's heart raced as he stepped forward. Is it really working?" he asked, his voice full of awe. Lily nodded, her smile widening. "It is. We've got the quantum coherence stabilized enough to transfer energy without any loss. It's only a small amount, but it's real." The team erupted into applause. Even Dr. Gerald, the skeptic, couldn't hide his excitement. "This is groundbreaking," Dr. Gerald said, his voice shaking with wonder. "This is exactly what we've been missing. The energy loss. It's nearly negligible." Elon stepped closer to the machine, his mind racing. If this worked on a larger scale, it could change everything. No more energy storage problems, no more inefficiencies. This could solve the energy crisis, make renewable sources truly viable, and open up new possibilities for everything from electric cars to space exploration. But then, a voice in the back of his mind reminded him to be cautious. This was just a prototype. There were still many hurdles to overcome. He couldn't let his excitement cloud his judgment. "All right," Elon said, turning to Lily. "This is a huge step forward, but we need to refine this. We need to make sure we can scale it up safely and reliably. We'll need to conduct more tests, and most importantly, we need to be sure that we can replicate these results consistently." Lily didn't flinch. She was used to this kind of talk. "I understand," she said, her voice calm. "But I'm confident this can work. I just need more time." Elon looked at her with a mix of admiration and respect. "You've done something few people have ever done in their lifetime, Lily. You've proven that what was once thought impossible can be done, and we're going to help you take it further." The next few weeks were filled with intense experimentation and refinement. The team worked around the clock, making incremental improvements to Lily's prototype. Elon's role became more of a facilitator, stepping in to ensure that resources and support were available at every turn. He was no longer just a skeptic, he was a believer. Lily's small-scale prototype grew into something much more substantial. The energy transfer system began to stabilize, and the team was able to generate and store larger amounts of energy. There were setbacks along the way, unexpected glitches, technical difficulties, and the occasional failure, but each one was met with the same determination from Lily. She would troubleshoot, adjust, and keep pushing forward. Elon had never seen someone so young display such relentless perseverance. It wasn't just her intellect that made her special. It was her ability to embrace failure, learn from it, and keep moving forward. As the days turned into weeks, the atmosphere in the lab grew increasingly tense. The stakes were higher than ever. They had come so close to success, yet the energy transfer system was still riddled with flaws that needed to be ironed out. Elon was no stranger to pressure. In fact, he thrived on it. He had faced immense challenges before with Tesla, SpaceX, and his other ventures. But watching Lily work with unwavering determination, he couldn't help but feel a growing sense of responsibility for her. Lily had always seemed so composed, an unstoppable force of brilliance. But lately, Elon had begun to notice the subtle signs of strain creeping into her demeanor. Her once constant confidence was giving way to occasional moments of doubt. It wasn't surprising. She had been thrust into the spotlight, her invention attracting the eyes of not only scientists, but also governments, corporations, and the media. The weight of the world seemed to rest on her shoulders, and Elon could see it in the way she rubbed her temples at the end of each long day. Still, Lily never let it show outwardly. She remained focused, staring intently at the systems before her, her fingers dancing across the controls with a grace that matched the incredible mind behind the technology. She was pushing the boundaries of science, but she was also pushing herself beyond her limits. It was during one of these grueling testing sessions that the team hit another roadblock. The energy flow, which had been somewhat stable in the last test, suddenly fluctuated wildly once again. Sparks flew from one of the terminals, and the hum of the energy core became erratic. The machine was on the brink of failure. Everyone froze, their hearts racing. "Lily, stop!" Elon shouted, his voice filled with urgency as he rushed toward her. She hesitated, her hands hovering over the console. The readings were off the charts, and the energy output was spiking uncontrollably. The system was starting to overheat, and it wouldn't be long before it could cause a serious meltdown. "I know," Lily snapped, her voice tense. "I'm trying to figure out why it's doing this. Just give me a second." Elon placed a hand on her shoulder, trying to steady her. "We need to shut it down before it becomes dangerous." For a moment, she didn't respond. Instead, she stared at the console as if willing the system to cooperate, her fingers trembling slightly. Her entire body was tense, her mind racing to process the data in front of her. Elon could see the frustration in her eyes, the pressure mounting. He knew the feeling all too well. Finally, she hit the emergency shutdown button. The lab descended into silence, the hum of the machine ceasing, leaving behind a heavy, uneasy quiet. "We'll fix this," Elon said firmly, his voice calm but filled with the weight of the responsibility he carried. "But we need to take a step back and reassess. We can't rush this. If we do, we risk everything." Lily turned away from the console, her gaze distant. "I'm sorry, Elon. I thought we were close. I really did." Elon's tone softened. "You're not the problem, Lily. We're all in this together. Every experiment is a step forward, even when it doesn't feel like it." As they stood there, the team began to disperse, moving to analyze the readings and figure out what had gone wrong. But Elon remained by Lily's side, sensing that there was more to the story than just a failed test. He had seen it before. When the pressure reached its peak, people often cracked, even the best of them. "Are you okay?" he asked quietly, his voice sincere. Lily blinked, as though his words had caught her off guard. For a moment, she said nothing. Then, finally, she spoke. "I don't know, Elon. I feel like I'm losing control of it all. I thought I could handle it, but this, I don't know what to do anymore." Elon sighed, his hands still resting gently on her shoulder. "You're doing more than anyone could expect. You're doing the impossible. I just want to make it work. For everyone," she said, her voice breaking slightly. "I've been so focused on proving myself, proving that I can do this, that I haven't stopped to think about the weight it's all putting on me." Elon looked her in the eyes, his expression serious. "You don't have to do this alone. You've got a team behind you. We're all in this together." Lily took a deep breath and wiped her eyes. "I guess I've been trying to carry it all, thinking that if I fail, it'll be my fault. But it's so much bigger than just me." Elon nodded. "I get it. But you don't have to carry that weight on your own. The world is waiting for your breakthrough, yes. But they'll wait longer if it means you get the support you need. No one achieves something like this without help. Trust in the people around you." For the first time in a while, Lily smiled. A small but genuine smile. "Thanks, Elon. I needed to hear that." The team spent the next few days reworking their approach to the project. Elon had made it clear that they weren't going to rush things. They would take the time to analyze every piece of data, double-check every step of the process. The pressure was still there, but it was more focused now, with a clearer sense of direction. Lily dove back into the project with renewed focus, this time with a bit of a shift in her mindset. She realized that she didn't have to prove anything to anyone. She had already done the impossible. Now, it was about refining the idea, finding a way to make it stable, sustainable, and safe. There was no rush to change the world overnight. The journey was just as important as the destination. As the weeks went on, the adjustments began to take shape. The system was showing promising signs of stability. The energy output was increasing without the fluctuations they had seen before, though there were still small hiccups to address. The team was slowly but surely moving closer to their goal. And then, one day, it happened. Lily, working at her usual spot in the lab, looked up from her console, her face illuminated by the soft glow of the monitors. "It's working," she whispered. The team gathered around her, their eyes wide as they watched the readings stabilize. The energy transfer system, for the first time, seemed to be functioning flawlessly. The breakthrough was real, and it was here. Elon stood at the back of the room, watching Lily's face light up with the realization of her success. He had seen her struggle, seen the moments of doubt, but now he saw the culmination of her hard work, her genius, and her unwavering determination. It wasn't just the energy transfer system that had succeeded, it was Lily herself. She had pushed through the impossible, and she had done it. The team gathered in the newly lit laboratory, the air now thick with the hum of machines that had once seemed on the brink of failure. But not anymore. The breakthrough had finally arrived, and though the system had only been tested on a small scale, the results were undeniable. Their work had paid off. They had created a way to harness energy like never before, a step into the unknown that could change the world forever. But despite the excitement, there was a palpable sense of ease that lingered in the room. They had crossed a threshold, yes, but the unknown was still vast and unpredictable. Elon's mind raced as he considered the implications. They were no longer playing around with ideas. The possibilities of this new technology were endless. Transportation, sustainable energy, space travel. But so were the dangers. A system this powerful was not without risk, and the stakes had never been higher. He turned to Lily, who was still standing by the console, monitoring the system's performance. Her eyes were glued to the data on the screen, her fingers tapping on the controls, making small adjustments. She looked different than she had just a few weeks ago, more confident, more composed. But there was still a flicker of uncertainty in her eyes, a quiet reminder that the weight of what they had accomplished was not lost on her. "Elon," she said suddenly, her voice cutting through the silence, "I'm looking at the numbers. This system, it's stable, but only for short periods. The energy load is still too intense for long-term use. We'll need to refine the system further." Elon nodded, pacing slowly across the room as he thought. "I knew we'd be getting there. This is a huge leap, but we're not done yet. We're on the edge of something massive, but we need more time to perfect it. Time and careful testing." He turned to Dr. Gerald, who had been standing nearby, his arms crossed and his brow furrowed in deep thought. "What's your take on the risk level, Gerald? Are we looking at a catastrophic failure if we push this too far?" Dr. Gerald adjusted his glasses and looked at the readings on his tablet. "The system is stable right now, but if the energy output is pushed beyond a certain threshold, there's a real chance of instability. We're talking about a reaction at an atomic level. If the quantum fluctuations get too intense, it could result in an energy burst, something similar to an electromagnetic pulse." Elon's gaze sharpened. "How likely is that?" "It's hard to say," Gerald replied. "The system is still too volatile right now. We're testing on a small scale, but we need to move to larger samples. The power required for large-scale applications will inevitably push the system beyond what we've tested so far. We're on the cutting edge, and the danger is real." Elon leaned back, considering the words carefully. He had known this moment would come. There was always risk in pushing the boundaries of technology, but the rewards were worth it. "So, what do? We refine, we test, and then we scale," Lily added, her voice firm and filled with determination. "We've made progress. We just need to take the next steps cautiously." Elon gave her a small smile, proud of how far she had come. "All right then, it's time for the next phase." The next few weeks were filled with a mixture of excitement and uncertainty. The team had made progress with the system, but the challenges were mounting. Every test was a careful balancing act between success and failure as they pushed the technology further than it had ever gone before. Lily, who had once been consumed with self-doubt, was now leading the charge, helping the team find innovative solutions to the problems they encountered. Elon watched her carefully, knowing that the pressure she had been under had pushed her to new heights. But he also wondered how much longer she could carry the weight of this project on her shoulders. There were moments when she appeared to be at her breaking point, but every time she would bounce back stronger, more determined than before. It was during one of these testing sessions that the system finally reached a critical point. The energy output was higher than ever before, and for the first time, the team saw a glimpse of the system's potential on a large scale. But the readings quickly began to fluctuate again, and the system started to hum ominously. The familiar sense of danger filled the air once more. "Elon, we need to shut it down now," Dr. Gerald said, his voice urgent. Elon's mind raced as he watched the readings, his instincts telling him that they were moments away from another catastrophic failure. The energy was building up too quickly, and they were about to reach the threshold. But there was something in his gut telling him that this was it, the moment they'd been waiting for. If they could just get through this. He glanced over at Lily, who was still focused on the console, her brow furrowed in concentration. She had been through so much already, but now it was all coming to a head. Elon could see it in her eyes. This was more than just another test. This was her chance to show the world that she was ready for what came next. "No," Elon said quietly. "Don't shut it down yet." Lily looked up at him in shock. "Elon, the system is unstable. If we push it any further—" "I know," he said, cutting her off. "But this could be the moment. We've worked too hard to give up now. Let's push it. Let's see what happens." Lily hesitated for a moment, but then her eyes met his, and something in her shifted. She nodded. "All right, let's do this." The machine hummed louder, the energy readings rising in a steady, relentless climb. The room seemed to hold its breath as the numbers on the screen spiked. Everyone knew that they were teetering on the edge of the impossible. For a moment, there was nothing but the hum of the machines and the soft rustle of paper as the team monitored the data. Then, the core began to glow brighter, its energy output stabilizing for the first time in weeks. The system held steady, holding on to the incredible power they had so desperately sought. Lily's hands flew across the controls, making small adjustments, recalibrating the system to maintain the new energy flow. She was doing it. They were doing it. The energy core, for all its intensity, was stable. A momentary pause filled the room as the realization hit them. They had done it. Elon's heart raced, his mind still processing what had just happened. He turned to the team, his voice hoarse with emotion. "We've done it. This is just the beginning." Lily looked up from the console, her face lighting up with the kind of joy Elon hadn't seen in her for weeks. She was smiling, really smiling, as the room around them erupted into applause. It wasn't just the technology they had conquered. It was the weight of everything they had sacrificed, everything they had overcome, that made this moment so significant. Elon knew that despite all the risks and setbacks, they were on the verge of changing the world. But even as the celebrations unfolded, a part of him couldn't shake the feeling that this breakthrough was only the beginning. The real challenges were still ahead, and they would need more than just technology to succeed. They would need to be ready for the storm that was coming. The breakthrough had been nothing short of monumental. Word of their success spread like wildfire, reaching the farthest corners of the scientific community. But as the team reveled in their hard-earned victory, Elon couldn't help but feel a quiet sense of foreboding. The world was watching them now, and with that came a new set of challenges. They had achieved the impossible, but the question that lingered in his mind was not whether they could succeed. They already had. The real question was, what would they do with it?